Let's call the meeting to order at 6:04 on January 9th. We can now, members present, start that.
Penn Norton.
Mary Anastasio.
Courtney Boudreau.
And David Broll. All right. Done that. Did you ever get a chance to review the previous minutes from the last meeting?
I did look at them.
Yeah, I think that they were pretty much what we went through.
Yes.
It's just. Where they are, I don't know. So everyone feel good with that?
Yes.
All right. Let's vote to accept the meeting. I vote to accept the previous minutes from December, I believe it was December 9th. The minutes from the meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Anyone opposed? All right, we accepted those minutes. All right, so now we have the new, I believe we're up to the week. Correspondence.
So, let's see, on my rec, I've had, I think we talked about, or at least it was brought up that, Rush North, they requested the facilities use and we put them, or Celine showed me how to just hold their dates.
Yep.
Just, I think we have to vote on that. Do we have to vote on like each?
Each probably, do those have to be done now? That's the other question. I
So
don't know.
that's a good idea, good question. I don't know.
I don't either, and I wish I did.
Because now I have, so the Council on Aging went in because they had to, like renew their dates that they had, in there. So this, like they did from even December 2022 to, when, March 2023, and then Triton Youth Lacrosse. So I held all their dates.
Yep,
But I was under the impression we had to vote on them
we do.
before I could,
We do.
like, say, like, confirm with them.
Should we postpone?
Yeah, see,
Like, I just don't know how far in advance they
They
have
need to
to
know.
know. I can certainly ask. Celine.
well, it's not on the new business, as far as I can see. Old business field policy, master plan, spending plan, dumps location, so new business proposal, destination, blah, 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 blah. Budget, use of field prior to April 1st, discuss, no votes taken.
Were any of those dates prior to April 1st?
Yes, so it was the Council on Aging, has Mondays and Wednesdays in December.
Yeah, we-
December through March.
Yep.
But I didn't, and I had actually asked Celine, like, well, do they have to be voted on as well?
They should.
Just because they're like extending
Yep,
there.
yep. We should vote on that. That's pretty standard.
Yeah, okay.
So what are the dates now?
So the dates are Mondays and Wednesdays, December 12th, 2022, through March 27th, 2023. And then the Wednesday dates are December 7th, 2022 to March 29th, 2023.
All right.
And they want to start at 10:30 and at 11:30.
I make a motion to accept the hours of the Council on Aging, for the use of the field house. Is there a second?
I second that.
Any discussion? Let's vote. Aye?
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, great, done. And we'll,
Yeah, the other ones don't need them till, let's see, Rush North, which I think is lacrosse.
Yeah,
Was not till April.
yeah, I think I saw
And
that.
Triton Youth Lacrosse, not until the end of March.
I just received the Triton stuff today, from a town.
Okay.
So, yeah. If it becomes an issue, we can do a quick in and out meeting. But I say we table that discussion until the next meeting. because I don't think it will affect, and if it does, then, like I said, if I screwed up and got the wrong ones in, then it would be my fault.
And that's tentatively probably February 6th, that's the first
Yeah,
Monday.
yeah, that should be
So
fine.
it's only, next week is a holiday,
Yeah.
right? So it's only really
Yeah,
3 working
and I
Wednesdays.
think that those groups are, they know what,
Well, they probably typically pick the same.
yeah,
slots
same
every time.
everything, so
Yeah.
it's old hat for them, and
Right.
so it's
It's
just.
just new formality for
yeah.
us.
Okay.
Okay, so I'd like to table the discussion on Rush, lacrosse, and soccer until our next meeting. Any second? Any discussion?
Just one quick question, did we get soccer as well? I just wasn't sure if I
I-
saw soccer.
I
in the
thought-
emails.
It's Triton Youth Lacrosse.
I just saw all lacrosse, so.
Yeah,
So
so
we're
it was
talking
it
like-
was like 4
Yeah, yeah.
different
4
lacrosses.
different lacrosses, right.
Yes,
Yeah.
and then another like entity, I think, lacrosse.
Yeah, that's what I had.
Alright.
Okay, so you guys were all on those emails?
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss a soccer
No,
element, but it's
if
all.
somebody said
yeah,
soccer,
yeah.
sorry.
So that's good.
All
Just
right,
my
so,
own notification.
all in favor of tabling that? All right.
Aye.
Okay.
Excellent. And what is the fun, we can't, so that's done with correspondence, correct?
The only other, I just had a bill, I don't know if that goes
Okay.
under correspondence
Yep.
from Townsend,
Okay,
and that hit the last schedule. I forget which number it was, 2314 maybe?
okay.
So last Thursday that was submitted.
So that's
And
paid?
That's
Yep.
paid.
Okay, excellent.
And of course, cost of propane is
Yep.
increasing exponentially.
Yep.
So just want to throw that out there.
Yep.
I don't know if this counts, but I reached out to Ben Cooper, or Matt Cooper, sorry, Ben Cooper. My husband's name is Ben, my son's name is Cooper. And I asked him how to update the website, because we talked last week, a lot of the information on there was outdated.
Okay,
And I haven't heard back, so.
okay. And that was due also with like the photo page or something like that?
Yes,
that too?
yeah.
All right, so old business, we had pickleball, is this the old?
Yep.
Yep. Pickleball, which we can't really talk about because I think Cindy was going to do that, but Cindy's not here tonight. Has anybody heard anything about the field policy with the town council? I have not. I didn't receive anything in email. And so let me just go through this because. And, all right, I'll go through some of the old business was the discussion on Central Street property. That was sort of thrown in my ballpark. So I talked to Chris Huntress, and Chris Huntress is, basically what he does is he set up the initial whole Central Street field. He did the planning for it, the sort of topography, where the fields were going. At one point, they were going to do a bunch of other stuff in town, and he has actually all the plans in-house. He actually has, we were discussing the canoe kayak ramp.
Okay.
He actually has that stuff. So it's not like it has to be reinvented. He's got the plans and a location for that. Because he said, Dave, don't try to look it up. I have that information. And I discussed with him the possibility of, because we want to get rolling on this, the playground, possibility of playground. So, if you guys want to just,
Pardon me.
I did a really sort of poor job. This is what, the impetus was, I said, we want to get going on a playground. He said, how much you want to spend or how much you think it's going to be. I said, I think that it's around $300,000. Just because when we did the basketball field, it was like 140, and then a little bit extra came out to, I think it was over 2 something, and then we were like throwing money left and right to try to fill all those things. So I think I'm guessing that it's gonna be around 300,000. So I said that. Well, he just finished a job for Drake It. So it's apples for apples, so it's $300,000. The only difference is that they had the initial field work done, so
They
I
had
don't-
the landing spot.
yeah, it was more so not the landing spot, but it was leveled.
Yeah.
So it's not, the other part is that we don't, it depends on where it ends up, but we really don't have to level. So anyway, this is, let me pass these down there. That is sort of like a blueprint of the thing, of the playground. That is, you know, a above shot. This is what it looks like. There looks like a couple of slides or 3 slides, and then a whole climbing area and swings. So I think what they do is when they do these playgrounds, they make them so that they're you know, they're good for kids from really, really young
Yeah.
up to, and there's, that's what the actual, sort of, that's what the end result of the playground will look like.
Oh, so this is leveraging the design he already did for
Yeah, yeah,
Drake It.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, that's what they did. They, you know, he has these set of plans, and so the plans are already done, and it's just, you know, he sort of facilitates getting in, you know, a bunch of bidders that will bid, and then it's a whole process of bidding, and, so his fee is, he said, between 8 and 10%. So if it's $300,000, so you're asking, you know, probably for another $30,000, so now we're up to $330,000. I don't know what site work is gonna be, but there's other conditions that may come up with this. And this is a square footage. This is where it gets kind of funky. This is what the actual, if you take a look, these, you pass these on, these are what the length and width of this field is. And so I walked out tonight, because it's been a while since I've measured this basketball court. The basketball court, we had a discussion, I said, well, you know, and this is just me saying, hey, this is where I want to put it, or this is where I thought it would be great to put it, but he, like everyone else, shot it down, because you guys were kind of in that same idea that it'd be best not to put it on the other side of the parking lot, because kids walking across it.
Yeah.
So he suggested the first thing to do is to put it to the right of the basketball court, but we have a septic line, so we can't do that. And then he said that have it as close to the field house as possible. So I printed out, you can see there's 3 more pictures of what the actual basketball court looks like. That area, it's sort of, you can see the basketball and it's kind of shaded. Take a look, and if we're going apples for apples, which is pretty close, it's basically that shaded area of the basketball court moved over somewhere. And we're dealing with fields. You can sort of see this print from above that you don't have a lot, you can't, you know, you're going into other fields. So,
Yeah, because that nice spot on the right is
Yeah.
where the septic
Yeah.
is. Yeah, 100%.
so he suggested going as close to the field house as possible, and he said you might think about taking some of the parking space. If we did that, I think it's a great idea to have it close to the field house. I think that's where the first thing comes in. I think it's a great idea to have it close to the field house.
So what, to the left? If we're
Right,
thinking
yeah,
level
just
left
when you,
of the field
yeah,
house? Okay.
yeah.
From
So, I guess, Ben, this is a question for you. On Saturdays, when you're out there, is that parking lot full?
It's
I know-
crazy. There'll be cars lined up like all the way up the street, all the way back here.
Okay.
It's really tough to find parking.
So, I think that it's kind of a question. We would lose probably, I'm guessing, I don't know, 25 to 50 cars worth of parking, I would bet, if we put the playground in, which I think we should do. It's just that, you know, is that something that, if you look at that area where the kids start to slide down the hill, maybe it's possible, I don't know about, you know, Conservation Commission, if we took some of that grass and increased the parking lot on that side, which I thought would be initially a good place for the playground.
Oh, right.
But if we, you know,
Expand that area.
yeah, so
Like
we
move
could,
it this way.
yeah, if we could put the playground right next to the field house, and then that area that's
Grass.
closest to, yeah, Triton, that way,
And turn it into parking.
parking. That maybe?
Do people, maybe you know, do people like park their cars on the grass right there? Or do they
So-
stay off of that?
Yeah, right
Yeah,
right there.
like where?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Usually, like there is room up here because people will come all the way up here.
Yeah.
And usually like that section is relatively empty, but it's like fully packed here
Yeah.
and there'll be cars on this road. and all
Yeah,
that.
we had problems. What happened was last year, even this year, I'm not saying this year, the way the gate opens to that back parking lot, so you can sort of see where the basketball court, and there's the gate right there.
Right.
The gate opens towards Central Street. And so what happens if someone parks their car there, which they do, because they don't know any better.
Yeah.
They park their car there and then they go somewhere, you can't physically open the gate because the gate will hit
Right.
their car
Right,
or
right.
it sort of blocks them in. So, and then people don't know to pull out there. So there was one, you know, like the parking lot was overfilling and I got over there, I was able to open the gate and I'm like telling people just, you know, keep going, go past. And I think a lot of people were hesitant about driving, but there is a ton of parking down here. It's just,
Are people allowed to do that?
Yeah,
If
yeah,
they are,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
it's
So-
not like fire access?
no, during Friday, during the weekend, we usually open it, in theory, we did a year ago, or maybe before, I don't know, because the pandemic has blown my mind with everything, but it used to be, the police would open it Saturday morning early, and it would stay open till Saturday night, they'd close it, and then Sunday morning they would open it so that there would be access. But we didn't want to have people, you know, it was probably 5 years ago, that was all open. And, you know, before the basketball court, so people would take their cars and go play on the field. And so that would become an issue. So that's why we have all this stuff sort of blocking. But the way I looked at this, and again, it's gonna take a little bit of discussion about what kind of parking we're gonna be losing and such like that. But, I mean, how do you guys feel about, you know, just that thought about maybe losing that hill? I don't know who slides or where the sliding hill starts on that area. Because you know the kids slide on it when the
Oh,
snow's there.
On
So I
the-
don't,
Like on this side or over?
No.
Oh,
No.
for this one.
Yeah.
right.
yeah, you know that
I forgot
one,
about that.
yeah. I don't think that would affect it. I had this great plan back in the day for using that grass area, put up some volleyball courts and playing volleyball, you know, because it was like right there, but it never came to fruition. So that, you know, that's the long and short of it right now. I didn't increase the size of this picture, but there's that strange knoll of grass over here, but it's just so far away. You know,
Right.
people, you know, they're going Central Street, going all the way around, and then have to walk up here and get up to that little area. You know, I really don't know what other way to go around it. You know, you could take and, you know, get rid of one of the small, which, you know, you lose revenue, but you get rid of one of the small fields and then maybe put parking out here so there'd be a separate entrance, but you know, I think we'd be reinventing the wheel if we did that. But I think if we moved the basketball court and slid it over there, and depending on where the utilities go for this, I think it might work if we can steal parking over here. Because I know it's a problem.
But,
Yeah.
and we would also have to decide where we're gonna put it, because we had talked about putting, not that it's a big deal, but putting a pad for the
Yeah.
the trash.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that pad and that trash would also need to
Be moved.
move.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah, so
I
they
just wanna call
yeah,
it out as
yeah, so that,
as a
yeah,
detail that we
yeah,
don't
I
wanna-
thought about that tonight when I was out there, because, you know, the discussion.
Because I think we were talking about putting that pad right there,
Yeah,
right
yeah,
where we
yeah.
were saying to put this.
But isn't it funny, we had the discussion about the dumpster, and I'm like, they don't move the dumpster, should be right, and I went there today, it's kind of like, it's not in the middle of the road, but.
No, it's like
you-
in shade.
Yeah, I don't
So-
understand why it doesn't go there, but that's another discussion, which we should probably talk about, and put on our next agenda, about maybe getting rid of that dumpster.
And then, okay, so I can like faintly see the field line, so
Yep.
like this picture in front of the basketball court is not possible, because that's
Yeah,
the
no.
field.
Yeah, and the other part is, I think that we looked at it before, I think that, I think there's space over here. The problem with that is, I think, Ben, do you know how far that field goes back? Is it where that second goal, or that
This-
back?
The photo kind of makes it look like there's more space than there is.
Okay.
I don't think there's like that. Like this almost looks like there's a hole in the field over there.
Yeah.
I don't think there's that much room. I think
Okay.
this goal is typically more like here.
Okay,
I
Yeah.
think about that much space.
yeah,
maybe.
okay. That's what I thought too. I didn't think there was, because we had a discussion about maybe putting a small football field or something. I remember that conversation we had a while ago about trying to find some space over there. So, yeah.
So then here is another field, is that
Yeah, there's
right?
2 small fields here,
Okay.
and then,
And what are
large
those
field.
used for? They just
that's
practice?
soccer, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
U10 soccer, U10.
Right, got it.
So when you say U10, is that 10 years and under, or is that what it is?
It'll be
Okay.
8-year-olds through 10-year-olds.
Okay. I hate to be, when I first came to the committee, I had no idea. And everyone else knew everything about the field because all their kids were involved in soccer or lacrosse. And my daughter danced, she did ballet. So it's kind of like, so I sat here with my mouth open for, I think probably about 7 years, but I had no idea what they're talking about. Field 3 and 4, so that's why we've been because he'll direct us what field is what, because,
Because he knew.
So then
knows?
who ultimately gets contacted about,
what I'll do is
This-
I'll contact Tracy and I'll talk to her, and it may be a conversation that we would have with her and DPW, because I think they do that lot area over there, and to see if this is something, because again, another situation is, if you guys can see the field house, there's that neat little handicap ramp.
oh, okay.
So we'd probably have to take and have the DPW turn that again and go, sort of, if we put the playground in that area right there, we'd have to turn that somehow so that there'd still
Oh,
be
they could have
handicap
access.
access to that, which might be fine. It might be something that, you have the playground, and then you have parking right in front of the playground, and then the last maybe 4 or 5 parking spaces would be handicap. And so you have sort of access to turn up and go right in. So preliminary plans, do you guys like the idea of, moving that to the left? I mean, I don't know where else to go. There's all that land there. The only other thing we could do is steal a field, but I don't know how that would go.
Necessarily wants to fully give
Yep.
to get, so to
Yep.
speak, right?
Yep.
What did the architect have any ideas?
He said to me, it should go, I said, everyone's sort of against me, but I was thinking that area, we just talked about on the other side, and everyone was complaining about walking, because no, it's not a good idea. You don't have kids walking across the parking lot. I go, okay, you win. And he knows that stuff. That's what he does design stuff. He said as close to the field house as possible. That was
Okay,
his,
so that was
his recommendation.
Yeah, I think that's.
He said
fair.
it would work well.
Because I did listen, I did hear what you were saying,
Yeah.
because in some ways it's like, this is the perfect spot.
Yeah.
Yet the.
Well, I think so say, like, you take the basketball court and that's like the area of the
Yep.
playground, and say you turn it, vertical?
Yep.
And put it next to the field house. I mean,
Yep.
I think,
Yeah, because
yeah,
there's
it's
a lot
hard
of,
to know
yeah.
how, it's not, you would lose more spaces if it was horizontal
Horizontal,
next to it,
yeah.
but vertically
Yep.
next to it. So I don't know, I don't know
Is there
how
any
many actual
modification to
spaces.
this design? Do we
I
want
don't
to
know.
keep with the 20?
This was sort of apples for apples.
Yeah,
And
this
so I
is-
think the
this
next
is
plan,
3,700
yeah,
square feet,
yeah.
so maybe it can be, I don't know what that square footage actually
Right.
is.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
But
Maybe there's a way to make some adjustments to
Yeah.
have it I don't know what the square footage of the playground at NES was, but that I would think would be much larger. Did you go to NES?
Yeah, I was there for the last, like, I was in 6th grade. when they built it.
I'd have to-
I have no idea.
I can
I know how
ask
big
how
this is.
big the square footage is of the one that was just built at the school I work at. Because
Okay.
it's not, but then you go to these things, and you're like, oh, this is not that big, but then, it always ends
It's
up being
always-
bigger.
Yeah, it's always a
Um,
little bit bigger.
And that one was like $275 to build.
Yeah.
So probably looking at the equipment, it's probably pretty comparable.
Yep, and I made the mistake before of thinking that we could do the basketball court at a certain price, because it just made sense, but we went on these figures that we thought were what they should be.
Well, and everything's
And then
more-
when it came in, it was just like construction costs have gone up and everything
Yeah.
else, and it worked out, I mean, it finally worked out, but it was, we wanted to build it, and at one point we were told we could definitely get it done for $70,000, and that wasn't even close. It was just not even close.
Yeah.
And so it's great, and the basketball's amazing.
Mm.
And it looks great, so I'm hoping it stays that way. So, what,
No, but this is great.
yeah.
So what's our next steps with this?
I will talk to Tracy.
Tracy?
Yep, and I'll try to get on new business next month, about, trying to get this, the next step, whatever that could be. If we can, get the funding to do the initial plans for it. And, I think what it has to work for Tracy, DPW, and then I don't know if the fire department are involved in this, but, I'll see if I can have a sit down with her and just find out what she wants to do, because I wish I had done this, I couldn't get it done earlier. It was a whole thing where I was on vacation, I came back from vacation, I think that last meeting, I left that night, I was gone for a week, or that morning, I left for a week, came back, I talked to Chris was busy, I tried to get him, he said, yeah, get in touch with me next week, which was the weekend between, the weekend between Christmas. I left a message with him and he said he wasn't working, call him last week. I called last week, he said he can't meet with me, but he had all this information and he couldn't make the meeting tonight. So I feel like I'm a month behind where I should be, but this is a big step one way or another. So I think, I don't know if there's a vote that should be taken on this, but I think that the next step should be to present this to Tracy and see where it stands and if it's feasible. Because, the other option may be, and I don't know how that would go over, but there's other places in town that it might fit. But I think they want to get it on this site, so that's the plan. That's the going over the master plan and Kent Way. Spending plan, Mark will provide committee with a draft outline of spending plan for fiscal year '23. He's not here, so yeah. Dumpster location, GMello has suspended, but the funny thing is that it's full right now. And it looks like construction, like someone put construction debris, like those construction bags. It may be just regular household trash, but it was,
Oh, I'm sure
it's
construction.
full
Sorry.
all the way to the top. So as far as the dumpster location, I think that maybe I'm gonna try to get on one of the line items next meeting to discuss maybe removing it and putting a small barrel there. That if people do using dog waste, it may be one of those things we have to build. We had talked about it years ago about getting one of those.
Like the dog
Yeah, that has the bags and.
Yeah.
But then that requires getting DPW involved and emptying it and stuff like that. So it's.
But in the summertime, doesn't families use that dumpster for?
The soccer's do it. Soccer does it
For their
during the spring.
waters and stuff, yeah.
Yep. and we had talked about years ago about, it just didn't work for some reason, I still don't know why, but there's a ton of plastic, recyclable too, that gets thrown
Yeah.
out there, and I always felt bad about taking a look at that dumpster, it's just full of plastic water
Yeah,
bottles.
that's the most
Um,
majority, I would think.
Yeah, and someone put the kibosh on not putting a recycling bin out there, so
I think it's something worth revisiting.
yeah, I think so.
Because so much of it gets wasted.
Just right, yeah, it's, all right, so that kind of covers old business. I don't know if we missed too much there.
I have one question, I
Yes.
apologize, it's probably a little out of
Nope,
realm, but we had talked about getting like a foot scraper for the,
Oh, cleats.
yeah,
Cleats.
cleats, yeah.
Was that ever purchased? I just don't remember seeing that. And
I know
I
his,
don't know if that's something that I would see to pay, but it was one of those things, I was like, did we ever get that? Because I don't remember seeing a bill for that.
Sorry, what's a foot scraper?
Like, when you go into, like your cleats, it's like a.
it's a
Oh, you
cleats.
still like clean your.
Yeah, clean your cleats.
Yeah,
Foot scraper.
that has been,
Clean cleaner,
Cleat
alright.
scraping.
that has been approved, a lot over the years, and for some reason, it just hasn't happened. So I don't know, I'll have to look through the last, do you know, do you have any idea when that meeting was, that we might have approved that?
I think it was July.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say I wasn't.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
July.
Okay.
90% sure.
Hopefully it didn't have my name on it. Dave, purchase a.
No, I don't think it did.
Okay, because I had no idea.
Even if it did, no, I apologize, I
Yeah.
don't believe that it did.
Yeah, let's look in to find out if that is something that was put onto someone, and if not, and if we okayed it, we should, I don't know how it works as far as fiscal year, if it's still good or not.
Yeah, because
we might do-
June ends and
Yeah.
July begins, so it was definitely this,
This round?
This
Okay.
round.
Then if that's the case, then we should look into it and then just purchase it and go through town and get paid for it,
yeah.
so.
So who would purchase that?
One of us would just go down and, unless it's a DPW thing, DPW maybe, and I guess it all depends on how it was approached. If it was one of those things, we'd see if DPW has a purchasing situation, and then it would be withdrawn from our budget.
But it would be our budget, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because I don't
Yeah.
remember seeing it.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess as we're all,
Yeah.
well, at least not all, but some
Yeah.
of us are fairly new, I just wanted to make certain that.
Yeah.
Who's supposed to do what?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the unfortunate things is things sort of, like, we've always, there's a lot of good ideas, and sometimes, because everyone works and stuff like that, things get lost in the shuffle. And that was one of the things, at one time we discussed, I think it's on the new business, one of those, talk about the right proper terminology, but a board that says, the field's open, the field's closed,
Yeah.
and then we could change things around, or,
Yeah.
hey, we're gonna do family night or whatever on the field. And we had the money for that, and I don't know what the reason why that stopped, and we approved it, and it just didn't happen, so. I think maybe that should go on the list for next week, and then, we
Yeah, because we
can,
talked about board, like field open, field not,
yep,
something that's visual,
Yep.
somebody's driving by.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay. All right, cool beans, thank you.
All right, we'll go on to new business. Proposals for district discretionary spending. Consider signage for field closure, and the daily closure protocol. So, I think we were talking about that, what the
Yeah.
best way to get the word out. It's been kind of weird, at one point, I think we wanted to be more involved on, when the fields were open and not. And so, the previous chairman, would drive by on his way from work, and then he'd put something on the town website. And I think I think that may be part of the town website thing.
Yeah.
Where,
I think the last date was like 2019.
yeah, and
Open and closed.
yeah, if we can sort of incorporate that into the town website, and then get the, the new website, so that, we put a sign up, say, field closure, check town website or something like that. Typically, as Mark was saying, that the soccer, lacrosse, and then the private soccer, they're pretty good about
Right.
staying off. Not always. There's times that there was like, and who knows, it might have been kids playing or whatever, but there's been times, but they've done a fairly decent job, but it's just one of those things where it's gonna have to be, someone's gonna have to take the lead on that. Because this year we didn't have to worry about it all because it was so dry.
Right.
But it's the time that, you have 5 days of rain and then it's all smushy, or that transition from March to April where it starts to thaw out and then the ground isn't settled and it makes a mess. So let's talk about, I think it might be an idea to look into the price of a sign, one of those, what do they call them? The V-shaped board?
Yeah, it's I always look at them as like a lunch board.
Yeah,
Not
lunch board.
lunch boards, but
That-
there's some
yeah.
name for them, but that's what I.
Like the letters, you put each individual letter up?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, like a,
it's like a
Yeah,
folded
yeah, it's a
hinge.
triangle,
Yes.
hinged.
how do we know someone's not gonna swipe it?
Good point.
Chain. Well, you know what? Let's put that on hold right now, because I still think we have, it's January now. If we get together in February, we can vote on that as far as getting a signage. And if we vote and approve it early February, we can get the sign by March and have it out there.
Yeah.
Let me talk to town administrator and find out how the sign, obviously there's a sign, or there is, to go vote in front of the new firehouse.
Right, yeah. I've
And
seen that.
I don't think they've had problems with that, but maybe that's because it's in front of the firehouse, where we're sort of out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
But let me talk to her about that.
Well, it's
and-
not, is it too fantastical to say somebody in the town might already have one to use? Just, I don't know.
You know what, there may be one in the field house that we bought, but I think, as I remember, it was like this small thing
Yeah.
that stood about this big.
Okay.
So I think that what we probably want is something that's visible from the road,
Right,
and,
So people like driving by can
yeah,
see it.
and I know they're a couple $100.
Straight, yeah.
They're a couple $100. But let's put that on the list of things to, I will talk to the town administrator in my discussion about the field, and,
so the cleat scraper and the
Yep.
V shape, I don't know, I guess A shape announcement,
A-shaped frame, A-framed, A-frame,
A-frame, notice board.
I know, I want to call it
Notice.
sandwich board, but I don't know what they
Oh,
call
it's,
it.
okay, A-frame sidewalk message board.
Yeah, there you go.
The technical name.
Amazon. Oh yeah, like this one. Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's exactly
A-frame sidewalk message board.
And how much are those going for?
This says $197.
Yeah, so I knew that they were around $200 to $300.
Yeah. But you just don't want it to get stolen, that's all. $215, yeah.
All right. Excellent. All right, so, I think we'll table that discussion on those items, the signage board and the cleats, until next meeting.
Okay.
And last year, everyone agree on, should we, I motion that we table the discussion on the signboard and the cleat cleaner until next meeting. Do we have a second?
Second.
And any discussion? All right, all approved? Okay. We can't, what do we have here? Daily closure, budget review tabled, and we'll just continue that. Use of field prior to April 1st, discussed, no votes taken. I still think that is, we were discussing that, and basically what the question was, if the field's ready to be used in March, can the teams use it? I personally think that, let's just wait until April 1st, because it gives the grass time to start growing. I don't think there's any, except for the teams being able to use it a little bit early, I don't see any other benefits as far as the field goes. Ben, when you guys were playing, was April 1st basically a hard start for you guys, or what? Or is it as soon as you get out there, you get out there?
It's been a while since I played. Yeah, I could. My parents were coaches, so I could check with them. I don't know the actual date.
Okay.
Not like I don't know for certain. That sounds
Yeah.
generally right. But
Yeah. I mean, there's been, depending on the season and the year, there were times that we were a good deal into April before we got people on the
Right.
field, because it was just so
But
bad.
then there's some
But I think-
weeks where you could go
Yeah.
out there in March. Well, it's hard because you can't make that determination.
No, so
until
that's why it's one of those things is, I think,
Keep it at a hard
yeah.
date, and then nobody has to really worry about it.
I think that maybe the way to look at that would be say, field use April 1st, unless, I don't know how to put that, unless, I guess,
I mean, how often are there? Well, I guess that also depends on the season. Like, how often do people ask to use it, and like how early?
yeah.
Like, if it's a few days, once every 3 years, then
Yeah, I don't remember, I don't even know where it came from, whether Mark had talked to one of the users and they discussed getting on there early.
Well, April 1st this year is a Saturday,
Yeah,
so when do you generally play?
we play Saturdays
So
typically.
the sooner may be March 25th.
yeah, let's say your season started April 1st to wherever. You wouldn't have games that first April, it would be just practice, and then you have like a game, there's like a certain start of games.
So we don't. We stopped practicing at like
Oh, really?
16 or something. So I haven't practiced for town in a long time. So I don't totally know. But usually it'd be like Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Saturdays would be games.
Okay,
Okay, so in that case, with April 1st being a Saturday,
yeah, they'd have games right
there
away.
may be a thought that availability the week of the 27th leading up to it, so that Tuesday, Thursday. you can
Yeah, but
play
if you're
on
saying
Saturday.
you're saying that they didn't, maybe I'm just reading this wrong, that they just have games, like they don't have practice before games.
Right. But the younger kids do.
right,
Okay.
they might have practice
But I
twice
think
a week in the games.
because the big fields are the U14 fields.
Yep.
I don't know if they practice or not.
Okay, let's just table that. I still think that, and again, let's table it, and then when we have a full committee, we'll vote on, making that a hard date or not. I just think that a hard date sounds pretty good, and if it comes down to it, and we have one of those weird Marches where it's just dry and perfect, then at that point, then we allow
An
groups to come in.
exception.
Yeah, an exception.
Like a weather exception.
So let's, I make a motion to table the question about, I do a lot of tabling, sorry. Table the discussion on opening the fields early until the next meeting. Do we have a second on that?
I second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Sure.
Aye.
All right. And we'll wait. Webpage update. Courtney is going to coordinate with town tech person. So that, you went over that anyway, but go ahead and
Correspondence,
just.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I reached out to Matt Cooper. I don't know how to get to him other than like the town website,
Okay.
which I sent a message and just said, you know, we would like to revamp the website. There's a lot of outdated information, make it more like, not real time, but be able to update
Yeah.
it easier. Can he help with that?
Yeah, I know that the times that I've been in, I don't know what the occasion was, he was around and he's like, yeah, he came in a couple meetings, I believe. He's the guy that came in a couple meetings. He always wanted to help out, so.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure he'll get back to me. Again, it was like through the,
Yeah, town.
because it
website.
wouldn't show me like what his email address was, and
Yeah.
So you messaged him?
Yes.
Yeah,
um,
and you could always call.
yeah, sure.
I have to make a separate trip here some morning early and, just catch up on, with the town administrator. But a lot of times what happens is they just say, let's talk on the phone or let's do by email. So I'll bring this stuff, I'll see if I can actually sit down and get 15 minutes with her and I'll when I'm there, if you haven't gotten in touch with
Okay.
the tech guy, I will
I'm
discuss it.
happy to call him.
Yeah, they're great. I find that this town hall is just absolutely, as far as getting stuff done. I got a dog license and stuff the other day, and they couldn't be nicer people. So it's nice because I've gone to other towns before. I did construction for years, and it was always going to different building departments. It was always a thing, always a thing. You just never knew, and they've always been nice here. All right, so I think that's it. Anybody have any ideas for the next meeting?
Did Chris Hunter say anything about the boat launch? Did you talk about that?
He did. He said that he said, don't do anything with it. I have plans for it. So I will ask him for the drawings. And so I guess before we close out, but my thought would be is discuss this with Tracy and just go over with her, and she'll know with James from the DPW if this is a feasible alternative, because we all know that the whole parking situation, because
Yeah.
I was there one time and it was on the road and people get all upset because they get tickets because all these signs say no parking and it's a whole thing. If this would work, if we could somehow work it out to maybe making more parking in back and stretching that out. And at the same time, I'll talk to her about these other things, and that will sort of open up the, and again, the going back to the boat launch. I think what he did is he had they initially had like a total plan for the field, and I think that was, they have actually plans for where that's going. As you can see, he's pretty detailed with his plans, especially when he did the basketball court. Everything was, a topographical map of it, and he had what worked out really incredible for us as far as the committee. When we were going to put this basketball court in, he knew the setbacks for Conservation Commission, and they all fit within, so we didn't have to go in and have special permits pulled and stuff like that. So
The septic system next to it, was that there before?
Yeah, so if you go basically in a straight line from the field house, right along the sort of just basically along the side of where that grass is sort of different colored, there's a long septic pipe that goes all the way to that mound where the
Okay.
septic system.
So that was there like before the basketball court?
Yeah.
Before even maybe the field house? I
Yep.
don't know.
Where would a copy of those plans be, just for my edification to review, just to kind of become familiar? Is that like on the website somewhere?
No, I don't think so. I will check if I have anything. from when we first did this. I think what I ended up going off of, I mean, there obviously are plans.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you know how, you might be, I shouldn't even say that, you might be able to get them, I don't know if if the plans are public knowledge or they're put up on the town website, because any kind of time that you pull a permit, and I don't know if municipalities have to, but they do site plans for those.
Right.
And they're usually all,
That's what I was
they're
just
all
kind
stored,
of,
so I know that if you went to town hall would have a copy of it.
okay.
And it would show basically where it is, and,
And the only reason why I'm saying that is because it would show, at least for,
Yeah.
I'm thinking for,
yep,
and maybe Ben as well, it would show where that is, and I appreciate drawing that out,
Yeah.
because then we would have, you know, pretty clear, it's
Yeah.
like, okay, this is something that we worked around, and this is how they
Yeah.
got around it for
yeah, and that's.
the basketball court. That's all
essentially,
I'm thinking
yeah, that's
about,
what
to
happened.
leverage that information.
Because what happened
Because
was.
he should have a plan
Yeah,
of this
yeah.
whole
Oh,
thing,
yeah,
right?
yeah. There's definitely prints on that. And
Yeah.
when we did this, which was nice, the Google map photo actually showed the color of the soil where it was, you know, there was like, you
Yeah,
could
yeah.
see a distinctive line. So we knew square foot, I mean, lengthwise and widthwise, what we could fit in there. And, you know, to get it in between the hump and then that, and how everything worked out. So they really squeaked it in perfectly, but that was a feat. That came out nice. I'm thrilled with the basketball
Totally
court.
thrilled, yeah.
Yeah.
And the great feedback on
yeah.
that, so.
All right, should we pick a night next month
Yes.
for fun and,
Fun and games.
yeah, fun and games? So February 2nd is something with the Groundhog Day. Yeah, so it would probably be the Monday the 6th. I don't know how that, I guess I'd have to check and see what's going on in town, but Monday's worked out, right? There's nothing ever gets planned on Mondays. And there's no, as far as I can see, there's no holidays until the
Right.
14th,
Right,
the
the 20th.
20th, yeah. So, should we tentatively plan on February 6th, Monday night?
I think we should.
Yes.
definitely-
At 6 p.m.?
I think we should
Yes.
definitely.
Yes.
plan that.
So, I motion that we have the next meeting, February 6th, at 6 p.m. for the rec committee, and, I don't know, we have to second that? But second it, and any discussion, or we approve of that? Let's do it.
Aye.
So, rec committee, excellent. It's added, for some reason, mine never show up, like I put them in, and then I look and I'm like, I know there's a meeting coming up, but my calendar doesn't want to put it in. So I hope this was somewhat helpful and.
Oh, it was
Yeah,
completely, it
definitely.
was great.
And oh, that's right, let's call this motion,
Oh,
the meeting,
yeah.
we'll call the meeting to end at 6:57 PM.